Hello, people of the world. Welcome to the Cybernews podcast. Today, we chat about the thing we all love, cherish, and never forget passwords. Also, we explore not exactly new but still nightmarish trend of employers asking workers to bring their own devices to work. Finally, 100 gorillas and one man.
No.
Enough said.
One gorilla versus 100 men. That would be a different story.
Welcome, Neve.
Hi.
Neve Ansel is our journalist, as is Ernestos Napris, our senior journalist.
Hey,
How are you?
Good. How are you? Excited to be back after the Black
yes.
Mirror podcast.
Yes, it's been some time. Nothing actually happened, really.
Well, as ABC would say, nothing's really happening over there, you know?
But we'll get back to that.
We'll get to that later.
no news today. We're finished. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Right. All right, but still, there has been something going on. Like I said before, passwords. The World Password Day just came and went. And we had a little research published last week about passwords. So I'll start off with a question. What do you think, guys, is the most popular password these days globally?
It's so hard to answer. Nobody knows that.
Probably is sequential numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Something like that. Something stupid like that, basically.
Yeah. Our research showed, I mean, it's only about 4 or 5%, but it still makes it the most popular and common combination that people use for their password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then maybe it goes on or not. And some passwords are just that password or admin.
Yeah, that's quite a common one, admin, I think.
So actually, these combinations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and password are the most used passwords at least since 2011. So that's 14 years. So so our team has conducted this comprehensive study on recently leaked credentials to examine the password creation trends this year. And the conclusion is pretty grim, I'd say, if you cared at all. Yeah, so there's a widespread password reuse crisis. People reuse passwords across multiple platforms that they use.
People do that?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I know, I do too.
I do.
Or I used to.
It's impossible. Okay, you can do the password whatever generator or
which is the smart thing to do. But
well,
in order to not forget your passwords, you reuse old passwords.
listen, there's only so much space in our brains, right?
Exactly.
So
Do you reuse passwords?
No, actually, I don't.
does your password contain 42 different characters?
I have a unique password for each account generated by a password manager, of course.
And it keeps all your passwords, obviously.
Yeah,
for
I
you.
don't remember any of my passwords.
Okay, but it would still be possible to hack your passwords, no?
For sure. Passwords is not the most secure solution to protect your accounts.
Yeah.
At
It would
least to
take
me.
a trillion years, but it would still be possible, I guess.
What's more secure then, like passkeys or multi-factor authentication, a combination of everything?
That too, and well, probably
Face
being
ID,
phishing resistant.
fingerprints, Yeah.
I think that's impossible, no?
People are always the weakest link.
Yeah, social engineering and whatnot.
So if you combine passkeys, multi-factor authentication, maybe use fingerprints or Face ID. Actually, a lot of people I know have started using Face ID for logging in. I
I
guess,
use
to
it
stuff.
for basically everything.
It's still possible to breach, I guess, by
Deepfakes?
attackers, intruding into your device and then stealing something that makes it unique as a Face ID. I don't know. But
if I were a hacker, I would call you then and said, Gintras, look, there is a football match going on and you can get free tickets. We just need to log in with your account. So quickly press this link, enter your details, and we are going to the football match.
And then it harvests all of your
And then you add
credentials.
my device to your account and I steal everything.
I want to say I wouldn't be tempted.
But
But I maybe was. I don't know. No. Right. So what else can you say about that study? Is it really that big of an issue still, or are passwords not that big of a deal nowadays?
Well, it feels like we made absolutely zero progress over
That's
the
amazing. Like it's like climate change, man.
Yeah, we keep talking about that every year, and we keep seeing the same results. The most popular password is 123456, or just
Just
password.
password, yeah.
Uh, Many passwords are too short, too weak. People tend to not use capital letters or special symbols. Unless the platform itself enforces some stricter rules, maybe then the passwords are somewhat more secure.
But I think most,
Most major-ish
yeah.
platforms already require the at least one uppercase
Yep.
character, a special character, a few numbers.
But from
That's what I
personal-
face day to day, like even on Netflix or stuff like that. They usually require like at least three different types of characters, I guess.
But from personal experience, I know that people will tend to do the bare minimum when it comes to.
Oh yeah, they can't be
creating a
fussed. Yeah,
password.
me too.
But
Yeah.
why? I wonder, like, whether you have thought about this. Why do people do the bare minimum when it comes to passwords?
I think it's very easy to answer. Well, you are incentivized to create a password that you will remember 5 minutes later. So, what do you think first when you need to create a new account? When you actually creating a password, is it security? How to make it safer?
it's just about
Speed.
the thing that I'm
you
going to
need
remember.
it right. You need it right now, and you just enter whatever you think you will remember later,
Yeah, or the password that you use already in multiple platforms.
Yeah.
which is even easier to remember. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm sorry to say I do, and don't use it against me, please.
You're asking for it.
Yeah, well, I don't really give a shit. But I mean, yeah, I mean, people, I agree with Ernesto. It's speed, and it takes the burden of your brain again to try to remember or even to create these strong, like resistant passwords. Unless you have a password manager and you're nerdy enough to learn how to. It's not hard to learn how to use it, but it still takes time. And these days, I'm personally too busy. I'm too busy with stuff to care about passwords and managing them and creating strong ones. And we'll get to that later. I just need a solution that makes me not use passwords at all.
Well, yeah, that would be an ideal situation, but most people still rely on passwords, unlike Microsoft maybe, which we'll move on to later.
Yeah.
And we also found how people kind of cope with that, how they come up with passwords they will remember. And dirty words are used quite often.
Like ass?
Well, as is an interesting one, because if you are looking for as in passwords, you will find a lot of, because many passwords are just phrase password, and as is included in it. But that only explains about a half of all the as uses.
Ass use cases.
Yeah. And I mean, still, like Ernesto said before, there's no progress over the last 14 years. I actually think there's been regression over the last decade or so, because I believe I'm just an average kind of dude. So
You are.
thank you, and actually, really thank you, because I just want to be like a little mouse. Anyways, but I'd have no time. I'm bored. I'm bored with passwords. I don't need them, and especially like look at the stats, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and admin or password. This is not even people's fault of not having different unique passwords. I mean, they just don't have the power and the time to think of the newest passwords. And this is what the systems originally provide you with, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's probably just a PIN code unless it's like 4 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Or admin is sometimes it's the default option that you have to change manually yourself. So
Well, that's
people
old school,
don't
though.
even bother.
And I get that because, well, my incentives is I just want to access my account as simply as possible. And
Yeah.
I don't want to use even the password I know, because, well, I want the systems just to work. And for example, many people don't even lock their doors at home.
Yeah.
So, and everything is all right for
You
them.
just want it to be a seamless experience, but it
Yeah, so the
becomes
system
tedious.
itself is built kind of working against your own incentives. And I think that the Microsoft solution that we should get rid of passwords altogether is kind of to the right direction.
Yeah.
So
Like-
about that Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that Microsoft.
Yeah, like you said, there's been no progress, so this highlights obviously the need of accelerating the adoption of more secure authentication methods. And hello there, Microsoft says. We do still tend to think of Microsoft as
Slow boy.
as a bit of a slow boy, especially the Internet Explorer, right? But this is a bit different. It is now probably the first really major organization of the tech kind to at least attempt to make the password less.
But from Sony, I believe.
The
I think,
PlayStation
I think
thing?
PlayStation released.
There are no
also-
passwords anymore on PlayStation.
I think there still are passwords, but they meant like that passkeys making it a primary.
the default one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, sure, Sony, go Sony.
Woo.
But we're here to talk about Microsoft. The passwordless login experience is what they're trying to do now to default it for all new user accounts. So according to Microsoft, new users will be able to choose from several options when creating their account. They will not have to set up a password. Like we all know the screen that shows up: create new account, blah blah blah, username, password, repeat password. And then
Yeah.
you have to confirm your account or whatnot. So, I mean, all this, except maybe the confirmation part, will not be needed. Passkeys is the new method.
Passkeys are mainly like biometrics, or is it like, because I've set up a passkey on my WhatsApp and it asked for my Face ID on my iPhone.
It's more complicated than that. And
Please explain.
I'm not sure I'm the right person to explain that, but basically, passkey is something a system stores on your computer that's based on your biometrics, on your hardware, on your software configurations. It's basically the unique piece of code that only you could have.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So it,
And when
yes.
you try to access your, for example, Gmail account and use passkey, so the system expects you to have that passkey, and it checks, oh, you have it, so welcome.
So it has to check that you're on a specific device.
Yeah.
It's you, and yeah.
And at least on Apple device, before you can use the passkey, you also need to check your Face ID or fingerprint.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
I see.
you create uniqueness of you on your device, and then the platforms recognize that uniqueness in you, and
Which-
then that makes that it's impossible to guess. Basically, to brute force or phishing, it's impossible with passkeys.
Yeah, but it's not a bulletproof solution. You can
Yeah.
still steal the passkey. So if
How do you steal it?
well, you download it,
Ah, right, okay.
and then you can create basically identical system as yours. The hacker, very sophisticated one, could just basically clone your machine and pretend that it's you, that he,
Ah, okay, so you make a clone of the passkey.
yeah, basically.
So it's acting like it's you, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any cases of that happening? I don't know. I haven't.
I haven't.
Had
I
a
haven't.
Have you noticed anything like that happening? Because you said it's really
Hacking?
sophisticated.
Well, it's basically info stealers. We hear everywhere about them, and I believe they already have that functionality to steal everything from your computer. Not only passkeys, but passwords, cookies, session tokens, whatever. Sometimes you don't even need the passkey if you can steal the session token. So you just use that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also keylogger attacks and screen grabbers. I mean that's small fish compared to info stealing, I guess, but it's part of that. Or buffer overflow attacks. There's various ways of getting data out of your systems, I guess. But just the password stealing part, which is most of the attacks, it could be over with passkeys.
Well, you don't even need to steal those
Yeah,
passwords.
yeah.
You can basically guess them or crack them. As we see with our research, 96% of all the passwords we analyzed were not unique.
Yeah,
So,
Wow. 96%.
yep.
That's.
people don't care.
But which
And
is.
actually, I'm glad that Microsoft is and other companies are finally like looking at the whole issue from the other side, I guess. No need to burden the user with all the new responsibility. Like you should be responsible for creating the unique, whatever, strong, authentic password. Let's make the process seamless and at the same time safer for you with passkeys, I guess. But it's still safer. It's not resistant. It's not like waterproof or whatnot, but it's still better than passwords.
Of course, it is. Yes, a lot better.
A lot better.
If you are ever offered to use passkey, always do that.
Always use it. But I was going to ask the question.
Yeah, please do.
I will. Why don't people care about their passwords? Is it because if hackers are going to infiltrate your accounts, they're going to do it anyway? And we see with like massive corporations, these massive leaks that we.
I used to catch myself thinking, so what are they gonna
find out about you?
Find out about me if they guess my password at
Facebook?
At Netflix or Facebook? What are they gonna find?
Your
They will
banking
write
details?
your friends asking for money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true, but yeah, but maybe I didn't think about that.
It's
one.
more like
but like Netflix or I don't know. Maybe you should think about these possibilities of them writing from your account to some other people. And there's numerous instances, by the way, from my like Facebook friends suddenly starting posting these strange requests, and then the real friend in about a day or two says, "Hey, it wasn't me. It was just like a phishing attack organizer, I guess, making these posting stuff and messaging people." I don't know. You don't think that there's a big threat to you, like personally or financially, I guess.
Well, it is actually. I
is,
heard
yeah.
stories
Of course it
about
is.
one girl from Australia. Her data leaked, and she found out that the hackers opened like 20 accounts in her name.
Happened to my friend in the States, Kiki, hi. She basically found out that somebody had hacked into her account, stolen her information, and had opened up like several accounts like for loans. And I think she had to pay it back.
No, I don't believe that. But
No?
well, usually it takes time to deal with the banks. But if you didn't take the money, then
Yeah.
you're not obliged.
Well, I think that's what she told me anyway.
I had a girlfriend long time ago, and she had a stalker. And we got into this argument with the stalker. He was also a hacker, like a programmer, good coder. And he got mad at me, I think, for some reason, and changed my name on Facebook after logging into my account. I don't know how, but I presume hackers can do that. But I mean, that was one level of being mad on me for some reason. But if he was really mad, he could have probably
Could have done a lot worse.
opened accounts in my name.
He was
more
just
or
trying to
less.
mess with you, I guess.
Yeah, but still, it is definitely creepy. But then, even then, I didn't. Only now I think, well, he could have done much more harm to me, but he
Yeah,
didn't.
he was quite nice actually.
Yeah.
But you don't even need anything to impersonate people. I had a case where someone just created a fake journalist account on those Medium platform.
Yeah.
Just use my picture, my name, and I had no knowledge about that.
Oh my
And
god, you're famous.
Yeah,
That's what happens
maybe
with
you even
famous
made
people.
money off it, no?
I don't know. Maybe I should check that account.
Maybe they're doing some good work, you know?
Yeah, probably.
Right. Okay. So if you want to know more, check out our comprehensive study of this password crisis. Don't use these passwords. They're very weak and not unique at all, and very easily guessable, I guess. So, but on to our next topic. So, okay, this is about bring your own device to work. Some employers now even ask you to do that. They don't provide you with a work laptop, work phone, or whatnot. We were all provided with work computers because we are fiscally and financially and cybersecurity wise responsible organization. Let's hope. But many organizations don't do that anymore, either for cost reasons or whatever. But Ernestus wrote a piece and asked a bunch of cyber pros about the phenomenon, let's say, of companies not providing employees with devices, and them bringing their own devices into work environment can be problematic, can it not, Ernestus?
I think we should think about the history. How did it all started? I think it started with bring your own sandwich.
Okay.
BYOL.
So do you mean that they were providing us with food before that as well?
I think in some time in history,
In
probably
factories, maybe. Yeah.
maybe, or maybe even a few hundred years ago.
They were providing you some food, and now they're
Yeah,
like, bring
but
your
no
own
money.
lunch.
Just food.
Slavery?
Okay.
Then
Go on.
Well,
Where's this
okay.
going?
That was just a joke, but I wanted to say that it first started with bring your own phone, actually.
Yeah.
Now, rarely I see employers providing people with phones. We use our own phones for work, and I kind of like it because I don't need to bring two
Two
devices.
devices, yeah.
I
Mhm.
used to do that in my previous workplaces, but anyway. The problem is when it comes to computers that, well, actually, those are the main systems you do your job, and that's where the most important data lies usually. And well, with coronavirus pandemic, many people started working from home, probably got used to their own personal devices, or their work devices became their personal devices. So it's probably comes both ways. And now we have situation when employees probably just think it's easier for everyone to just bring your own computer. Maybe we will want to install some tracking software on it.
Mhm.
So we make sure we can delete the company data and track if you do something nefarious. And yeah, that's a trend. And cybersecurity pros hate it.
Why?
Well, it kind of self-explanatory. If an average user is managing their own devices, so you're at home installing various software packages,
Could be malicious. Yeah.
using probably some torrenting applications, gaming on the device. Maybe your kids use that and then find some mods for Minecraft they really need to install. And what happens next? That your computer becomes filled with malware. And corporate data is also on it, and probably even some sensitive access to the corporate systems.
Yeah, I just wrote an article about that actually. A man hacked into Disney by creating a malicious piece of software that was meant to be an AI image generator. And stupidly, the employee downloaded this from GitHub. And yeah, the hacker managed to basically infiltrate Disney's Slack channels and steal 1.1 terabytes of data from the company. So not very smart from that guy. Maybe he was using his own device. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking also, Ernestus. Okay, so I mean, we can complain, and cybersecurity professionals definitely see a problem with using your own device for work. At the same time, it's probably something that we will not avoid. Companies worldwide will still want to save money. And there are various ways of doing that. Of course, you can lay off people, you can replace them with some automated work or whatnot. But there's also, if you want to do this extra step, you can maybe save money on devices that you have to buy for your people, right? But maybe there's a compromise in that. Okay, people are still gonna download accidentally or not some malware via pirating websites or whatever, or via emails. They're going to open some phishing emails undoubtedly. But what if the company offered, together with the bring your own device policy, like a cleanup of your device for free, like every month or every quarter? I think that would be a solution that would work for everyone. Cheaper, but also, again, of course, the whole cleanup would cost the company. So
I
they
don't
have to
think
calculate
there
what
is
costs less.
one golden solution, because For example, all those phishing scams where they show you some fake capture test, you need to perform some action, and then you get infected immediately. Or I mean, compromised. The hackers can control your computer. So monthly cleanup will not solve that. If it just takes probably minutes to get compromised, and then hours to get access to the corporate systems, and probably a day or two to
Shut everything down.
yeah.
But is there maybe then a way to protect your work information inside your personal computer by extra security?
There are solutions, of course. One solution would be your employer kind of manages your personal computer, installing all the management software, so you basically limited to use your computer, and you can't install some apps, do some
Which
stuff.
is like what we have here.
It's not your personal laptop then anymore.
It's not your personal laptop anymore, and the employer can even access your personal files on it. So yeah. Another solution would probably be for example, delivery workers. They use their phones to connect to some platform, an app, and all the management is in the cloud. So cloud-based solution is another way of doing that. You just use your computer to connect to some VPN and some system online, and you do all the work there, or upload something you did previously if it's a text document. So then the company kind of can scan what did you upload and check if everything all right. But still, it's kind of vulnerable because if you got an info stealer on your personal computer, so it can steal the password or passkey to that system, and it still is a security risk.
Everything's a security risk.
Okay, so even we have to use our own phones, and we do have work-related apps on our phones.
Yes.
Yep.
So
it's also a danger, yes.
Yes.
Even if you own only employer-provided computer, you still can click something that will lead to 0-day or execution. And
yeah, we all turn on YouTube or whatever. I do open up my personal email on my work computer because sometimes you need to do that. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm screwed now.
Ha.
And so then employers see that, all right, probably we can manage somehow those risks, but there are savings too, because you don't need to buy a computer, which is not the main cost. Managing and updating and supporting those computers is a much larger cost. And if employer can take care of that, well, here you go.
So it's still, do you think it's going to change the practice?
Well, I don't think it's gonna change. It depends on what job market we will have in the future. Will we have more remote work, more service providers instead of employees? Maybe we will see more of those hybrid workplaces. It depends probably.
Yeah, I agree. Do you, Neve?
Yes.
Great.
I do.
And would you like to use to get annual sum of money and use your own device at work?
No,
annual
I don't
sum
have one.
of money for using my own device at work.
Yeah, some kind of
A compensation.
or
Oh, probably, yes. I don't even have my own personal laptop.
No, neither. I spilt rosé on it.
Yeah. I just use my phone and a Google Chromecast for stuff on my TV, and that's it. I mean, I don't really need a laptop for my personal use at this time. But I'm not a nerdy geek like you are.
Zing.
Okay. 100 men
Yes.
versus one gorilla. This is not entirely a phenomenon of today, but it's been all over the news, the hard news bits.
Yeah, ABC, stuff like that. BBC, places have got it,
So
they're talking about
there's
it.
been this dumb debate, I guess. What do you tell us what it's about?
I will. So, one gorilla, specifically a silverback gorilla, versus 100 men. Who would win in a fight? That is the debate.
Silverback, yeah.
Well, we'll get into why it's possible for a silverback gorilla to absolutely mutilate 100 men. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Formations. What can I say?
So the viral debate occurred actually in 2020. So it came from the r/who would win subreddit. And it's been revived by a guy on X called Michael Sherrills, who basically tweeted his belief that, I can't say the whole thing because it has slurs in it, that 100 men could beat one gorilla. He was adamant that 100 men could certainly beat one gorilla. This post got almost 300,000 views on X, and roughly 10,000 people commented on it, sharing their own opinions. And then it sparked this huge uproar in people saying, like, who would win? It started this whole debate. Even ABC, the media, like you said, one of the biggest media outlets in the US, reported on it, and they got an expert in to basically say who would win. And I guess, we reported on it because it's a viral trend, as is most things like Italian brain rot, German brain rot, all of this kind of thing. And this is an example of brain rot. I mean,
it's also an example, at least in the case of ABC News. I think the anchors of the news program there, they even said, I think with a large tinge of irony, we have nothing else to report on this week, so we're going to talk about 100 men and one gorilla.
Who would win in a fight, 100 men or one gorilla? People have been kicking this question around all week, especially on social media, including up in our newsroom. We actually debated this because there's nothing else to talk about this week, right? So we wanted to get the perspective of an expert. Shannon McFarland is the science director at the, I hope I'm going to say this, Dan Fossey Gorilla Fund.
In Trump's America, there's always stuff to report on these days. So I guess it was irony. And maybe it was a soft news section or whatnot. But still, it's just weird that the news organizations are chasing a viral thing, which is not even a...
But I think it's also the Gen Z-ification of news, and
the dumbing down.
Rude.
Well,
I'm not dumb, and I'm Gen Z. Come on.
Well.
Okay, I'll leave that up to you. Okay, so on via the interview, the expert from, I think, the University of Washington, basically said
the gorilla fighting expert,
expert,
the PhD,
said that
holder.
basically silverback gorillas are about 400 to 500 pounds of pure muscle, right? They've got huge canine teeth, and they basically can rip a human limb from limb. But the difference between us and gorillas is we have, to an extent, a certain level of critical thinking skills, and we are, like you said, able to form formations and understand the best attack routes and all of that kind of stuff. But still, the question remains unanswered. So I ask you guys, who would win?
Boy. Well, if gorilla uses trebuchet and man use catapult, gorilla would win.
Yeah, there are many circumstances. Can the men be armed with arrows or knives or?
I mean, unsurprisingly, there's no criteria for this.
Well,
so.
Surprisingly so, because it's very hard to say. If they can have a revolver, then they shoot the gorilla and that's it.
But
if it's barehanded, then I think it's a bit complicated, because what gets into the whole experiment or whatnot is the psychology. You get 100 men, but who would go first, for instance, right? The prisoners? Like the Russian army, they send the prisoners first to the front lines?
To get absolutely torn apart.
Yeah, and then the real pros join in or whatnot?
No,
or
because
what's going to happen?
What I think would happen is, because we are somewhat aware, you'd see 10 or 15 men getting absolutely mutilated, torn apart by this gorilla, right? And then the other men would go, hey, this, I'm not doing that. See you later. And would run away.
Yeah, I think so.
And the gorilla would win.
But what if they can't run away?
But that's the thing. This is I think people are expecting that there's going to be 100 men who will fight tooth and nail with this gorilla. But I think bare knuckle fight with a gorilla isn't happening. And us as beings, we're all about self-preservation. So I think in reality, we would run away.
But then again, you would think that one alligator would completely rip apart one man, but you still see those guys jumping into the pond and kind of.
That's Floridians for you. That's people in the
Yeah.
Ozarks and the
Did you see
Florida.
that one, Florida Man? The TV show, the HBO.
No.
It's amazing. Actually,
100 men from Florida would definitely win.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
oh man, that's interesting.
100 Floridians.
But okay. Let's say they have, like Anissa said, they have nowhere to run to. It's a cage. Let's say it's like a gladiator,
like an MMA
circus.
cage, like UFC.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, yeah. And then there's a gorilla and 100 men, and there's no way out, and you kind of have to
Gorilla's winning.
fight it out.
Gorilla's
Yeah,
winning.
but let's think of ways that the men could actually do it. I guess there would have to be some sacrifices, and there would be a vote or whatnot. That 10 or 15 guys, you're gonna have to be mutilated. I'm sorry, but
I think they will jump all at the same time and
Yeah.
pin it down, and that's it.
yeah, but where do you pin it down? By the neck? You kind of suffocate the gorilla. I
or
guess.
you gouge out its eyes. But anyway.
But anyway,
Yeah.
maybe the monkey has a typewriter an infinite amount of time, so it kind of types the complete works of Shakespeare, and everyone dies waiting.
Aha!
The energy vampire, so to speak.
But we were talking about brain rot, and like I said, this is an example of brain rot, which is basically the state of consuming so much content that your brain is rotting away.
Yeah.
But what I think it is most indicative of is being chronically online. I think that's the main thing, because like being chronically online is being so online to a point where you're obsessed, and the internet is your primary use of socialization and entertainment. I think this is exactly it. We have these discussions in the newsroom, not maybe one gorilla versus 100 men, but we have ridiculous discussions, and I think that's human nature. And now that we are chronically online, where socialization and entertainment happens in the online space, that's where, you know, it's bound these things are going to happen. Also, it's a very polarizing topic. Nobody can decide.
It's also
because
not
it's not happened.
It's not a bad topic as well. Because look, I mean,
But it's stupid.
of course it is. It is stupid, but nothing needs to. Not everything needs to be very smart and noble, whatnot.
And I think that's also the barrier for entry is so low that
Yeah.
anybody can talk about this.
And also, I mean, it's pretty interesting. There's so many ways of approaching the issue and problems. Are they armed? Are the men armed? Is the gorilla? How old is a gorilla? And where has it been bred? In the zoo or out in the wild? And stuff like that.
Many a variable. Many a variable.
Imagine if climate change got so much attention.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we'd be. But this is the thing. We're distracting. It's a form of escapism as well, being online.
It is escapism.
We decide, no, let's not talk about what maybe people in
Maybe
the
it's
US are doing.
escapism if you only ingest all those memes. Well, there is nothing bad about brain exercise like those.
This isn't brain exercise. This is brain rot. This is the opposite.
Well, if you only ingest that, then yes. But still, we are sitting here and discussing this anyway. So
Okay, I see where you're going.
I mean, the whole idea of discussing it in the news maybe is ridiculous, but just discussing the
for
whole
you,
thing is nice.
Me, it's
nice.
a brain exercise. For those watching, brain rot.
Sorry. Brain rot.
Sorry for rotting your brain today, guys. But it's over. So you can enjoy the rest of your day now.
Well done, you get a gold star.
Neve Ansel was here, Ernestas Napris was here, and I was here. My name is Ginteras. Thank you so much for watching and listening. See you next time.